You guys, it is crunch time. 4 days until my market. And I am like, what do I do? Not really. I mean, I know I have a lot to do. It's just, I don't know what to do first. So, old business first. When I showed you guys the peanuts that I made, someone had suggested in the comment to display them in a paper bag. And I'm like, oh, where am I going to get a paper bag? Do the stores still use paper bags? Well, Saturday, I drove down to this crafters market that I'm going to be doing this weekend because I wanted to see how to get there for one, but how long does it take to get there? And what am I up against? So I talked to one of the vendors that was there. Super nice lady. She sells these soaps, and I had to buy some. I couldn't help myself. So I got this little bar, and it's peppermint. And I absolutely love the smell of peppermint. But what really caught my eye on her table were these. This is a succulent, and she gives you these little dome things to keep them in. Of course, I would never use this. It's too darn pretty. See if I can block that glare. You know, it's just too darn pretty. It's just decorative only, but I just had to. I couldn't help myself. So that was my big spend. But this place is a lot further. Well, it's not that it's far. It was drive time that was bad because once I got off the interstate, it was like a light every 2 seconds, and I caught every single light. So I'm going to take a different route. I'm going to pay the toll to take the toll road, but that puts me 5 miles east of where I need to be versus 26 miles east of where I need to be. And only going through a few lights versus, I don't know how many, but it was a lot. It was a lot of lights. But anyways, she packaged my stuff in a brown paper bag. I was like, cool, this is perfect. So, have you ever tried to fold down a paper bag without ripping it? Didn't work too well for me, so I got one corner taped. But this was the idea that was suggested in the comments for displaying the peanuts in a brown paper bag. And that looks cute. It holds 3 of them nicely. I have 4. I didn't make any more. You know, because I got to test it out first before I go crazy. Well, at least that's the philosophy that we should follow. And I didn't do that on everything. But on this I did. So I think it looks really cute in the paper bag. Unfortunately, I couldn't fold it better than what it is, but it's going to work. So there's that. That is old business. And then I was showing you my rows with the wire that didn't work that Amazon had. Marked as 2mm, and it's definitely not 2mm. So I went back to the channel that did the tutorial for these roses, and she had a link for Amazon. Now, of course, she's in like the UK or someplace. And the link, it was sold out, but I knew what I was looking for. So I was able to take the name of the item off of her link, you know, the listing from her link, and find what I needed. So I got the wire in. So I made a whole bunch of roses. But what happened is Wednesday, I had some orders to make, and I only got a few things done. Thursday, I had some really big orders, and Friday, some really big orders, you know, for my button shop. And I got my Mondays mixed up. I thought that yesterday was President's Day, so I was like rushing and pushing myself to get those orders done so I can get them out when next Monday is President's Day. So I'll be going through the same thing at least Friday, not on Saturday because Saturday's the market, again for orders. And just before I hit record on this video, I got a really big $200 order in. So tomorrow is going to be shot for getting much done. Anyhow, so I made the roses. I did yellow, and look, it stands up nice, and I can still bend it to tilt it forward. So I got yellow and red. Now I had to, on Saturday, on my way home from checking out this marketplace, I had to stop at Hobby Lobby. One, because I don't really like Red Heart Super Saver, and that's all my local Walmart has. And then their yarn is usually so picked over, I knew I wasn't going to be able to get what I needed. So I stopped at Hobby Lobby to get yellow, red, and a green that I liked. Well, then I got white too. So I made some white roses. And I had pink, but I started with this pink. And then I wasn't really sure because when I think of pink roses, they're kind of a pale pink. So I thought maybe this pink would be too dark. And when I showed them to Sue, she, on the camera, it looks peach, but it's ballet pink. And that one's Premier Basics. This one is also Premier Basics. So my original plan was to do 3 of each color, and I was going to have 4 colors. Well, now I have 5 colors. So I did 3 of each of these. And then I was like, what on earth am I going to display them in? So my thought was like one of those metal buckets, but we couldn't find one big enough that the weight of the roses wouldn't tip it over. So I'm digging through the house, and I have this crock that I have some glass flowers in, and I'm like, no, I can't. It would be perfect, but I can't because I'll never get the flowers back in it the right way. And I don't want to break those flowers. So I had an old canister in the laundry room. So this is what they're going to go in. I'll have to turn it this way because this side says flower, but the wrong kind of flower. So I had to put this inside it to like shrink the opening and, so they don't all just like, I don't want to make any more to fill it up. I'm done. I spent my entire Super Bowl Sunday making all these roses. But I think that looks just fine like that. I had bought some plastic sleeves to put them in, but unfortunately, they don't fit. Now, it said that they were 5 inches wide at the top, but if these were buds, it would work. But because they're like bloomed, it doesn't fit right. So I have to send those back. Unfortunately, because I just thought that would, make it look more appealing, like someone buying it for a gift. So when I was in Hobby Lobby, picking up that red and yellow and white and green, I had to look around. And because there were people standing where I needed to be to get those colors, it forced me. Absolutely forced me to look at all the other yarn. So what did I do? I spent $83. Now, fortunately, it was Yarn Week, so it was 30% off. Now, I've already gotten into 2 of the colors. These 2. These are cottons. So, I got several different, I even got into this one. Several different variegated colors. And just one of each because I have this other project that I want to do. And I've started it, but I haven't finished making all that I want to make, and I doubt I'll get them all done before Saturday. But then I got a few solids. and I've gotten into the red. So, yeah, I was forced to buy more yarn because I couldn't get to where I needed to be. So these are the cottons. I had used the colors that I had on hand, but I wanted more colors, and I'll show you here in a minute what I made with those. But it didn't stop there. Nope. They had, and this is a different Hobby Lobby than I usually would go to. Like total opposite directions. Normally I would just go down into Dade, down to Zephyr Hills, and go to that one because that's the closest one to my house. But I was over in Brooksville, Spring Hill area. So they had Baby Bee Adorable, super bulky. It says it is a 6, but this is so much thicker than Parfait Chunky, and it might be too thick for the loops and threads. Whoops. But I thought this would make a gorgeous turtle, you know, for the shell. So I went online and I have more yarn coming. But good news about that. I ordered 3 of the sage green and the glitz, and 2 different colors, a green and a tan of the 7 weight, hoping that I can use it with this. We will see when it gets here. But all of that only cost me like $8.70 because some of you guys have used my refer a friend link down in the description. And each time that you do that, and I think it's if you're new to Premiere, I'm not sure 100% on that, but each time you do that, I earn reward points. So my reward points paid for most of the stuff that, you know, the shipping and tax put me over. You know, like I had $39 in reward points, and shipping was $10, and the tax was $3, and so I paid $8.70. So whenever that shows up. So I got this because I think it's going to make a great turtle shell. I can talk. And then they had some more colors of that cozy with the twist. And I already used this one. This one is called Posh Pink. It's so pretty. And then this one is Ocean View. Sounds like a turtle to me. It's got some greens and blues in it. Pretty. And another cozy with a twist. It's called Yay in May. These are just so soft. And the colors are just gorgeous. Blues and pinks, a little bit of pale green, some white. It's pretty. But that wasn't it. They have Baby Bee Adorable. And it says it's a 5 weight. But these work pretty good with the Parfait Chunky. I've had a couple of others, I think, but in solids. And I think these will work just fine with the Parfait Chunky. But so this one is called Let's Cuddle. Some green and blue and white. And when I'm picking this stuff out, all I'm thinking is turtles. And then this color is called Lullaby Lane. There's some purples and some pinks and some greens in there. And then, oh, this one has a fancy name. It's Blue White Multi. Somebody didn't eat their creative cereal. And then I picked up just a plain white because my white has been horrible with the Parfait Chunky. And I like Parfait Chunky. I don't want to not like them. But I'm not liking a few of their colors right now. Even my teddy bear, the brown color, was like not so hot the last skein I got into. Anyhow, that was my little yarn haul that I picked up on Saturday. So the other thing that I made, well, I'm sitting there Wednesday making some pandas while I'm watching Heather's live. So I was able to make 3 of them. And this one is a free pattern on Instagram. Now they come out kind of tiny in the Parfait. The last one that I made, I did out of the Bernat. But yeah, I didn't want to use Bernat. I'm not trying to kill my hands. So they're small, but you know, they're the low price thing. The only thing I did different is I did not change back to white on the bottom, because I'm like, pandas, do they have white butts? And they look just fine like this. So I made 3 of those. And then Jenna comes in and she's like, you want to see the orange bag I made? Now I'm thinking it's orange. Well, no, it's an orange, done in orange. So she shows me her bag and she says, do you want me to send you the pattern? You want to make one? Well, of course I do, because I don't want to discourage her. I love it that she's liking to do the crochet. I'm trying to talk her into trying out some amigurumi here. So she sent over the pattern, and I just happened to have a little bit of orange cotton. And mine turned out much smaller than hers because she used acrylic and a bigger hook. I used the cotton with like a 4mm hook because I wanted the tight stitch in it. So it's this little drawstring bag, and I did the straps different. So it's got 2 straps, and I gave it the 2 leaves, one on each side of the strap. Now, this is not something that I would do again, not for a market, because this took me several hours, and I just don't think you can command the price. You know, at Florida's minimum wage of $12 an hour, that's $36, not counting your supplies. So I don't think you could command that kind of price for it. But I have one. I'll take it. I'll sell it. I won't get paid for my time, but I will try to sell this. So I did that. But then that made me think about the granny square pouches that I wanted to make. And that's why I picked up the cotton yarn. So I tried it at first in acrylic, and I hated the way it felt. This wasn't the softest acrylic. But this was the little pouch. And I'm like, it's easy enough. They're quick. I love making granny squares. And you're only sewing 2 together. And you're really not sewing it. You're crocheting them together. So this was like the test. And then my star granny square tutorial is so popular. I was like, I'm going to make my little pouches out of a star. So I made this one. This was yarn that I already had. Okay. And this one, which is also yarn that I already had. And I just thought they turned out so pretty. That's why I had to get some more cotton. And like I said, I like making granny squares. And sometimes, you know, even though this one you have to kind of pay attention and count, they're fun to make. They're easy. And I did something a little different on these than in the tutorial that I have. Like, when I chained up to do the ray of the star, I twisted my chain stitch and did it in the back loop so that it would outline, you know, both sides would be the same. And then when I go and do the border around it, I can do the back loop only, and it gives it the outline around the star and makes it stand out. So I did those. And then after I got my yarn, I was like, ooh, let me make another one. So I did. And unfortunately, I had the wrong hook sitting on my desk. So this one turned out a little bit smaller. It's out of a 4mm. But it's still, I mean, it's not too much smaller. This is a 5mm. It's a 4mm. It still turned out pretty cute. I like it. I like the colors in it. And then, since I got the red, I was like, well, I'll do a heart just to have something different. And that is the heart pouch. So I have 4. I want to try and have 6 to start off with. But if I only have 4, I'm okay with that, because there's a lot of things I need to do. So I made those, and after I went through all my stuff, and I'm like, oh, I needed turtles, so I did the turtles. I still want to make some more. I did make one more. And I didn't have any cows. So I tried a pattern that I had bought, and it's by Madeline Mako, and it's for a longhorn cow. And it's basically no-sew, well, it's low-sew. The only thing you have to sew on is the muzzle and the horns. Everything else is crocheted in. So I followed the color pattern that it said in the pattern, and I'm like, this isn't how her picture is. The toffee should have been this part, and the teddy bear should have been the body, and it's still cute, but I was expecting it to look more like the picture that she showed in her example. So this was a lot of color changes. This, I got lost in some of it because each row or round, especially on the legs, each round was kind of identical, but might have been over by a stitch. So my second one, I did not do the color changes. And I didn't make the longhorns. I did it the little short, little buds. And I did it with teddy bear and chocolate and toffee. So now this was the teddy bear I was saying that was like not so hot, because I used the same hook. I made them, this was like one night, this was the next day. And the size difference is huge, because the teddy bear didn't have the same amount of fluff on the string as the toffee did. But I have 2 cows now, and I know I'm supposed to be working on small stuff. So I did. I showed you my Premier Hirschner's yarn order last time. So when I was doing the little panda bears, after I was like over that, I'm like, let me just make some mini birds. I need some mini birds to fill up my Ferris wheel. And I did 2 in pink. And that's when Jenna came in and asked about the orange pouch, bag, whatever you want to call it. So I did 2. And I didn't go back to it. I know. But I still have 3 more days. 4 if you count today. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you know I'm going to be doing this new farmer's market, and it's on a berry farm. It's called Sweet Berry Farms in Williston. So I wanted to do strawberries and blueberries. So I got in that Hirschner yarn order blue. That's called Classic Blue. So I made some blueberries. I made 3 blueberries. And I don't want to overdo it because, again, are they going to sell? But I think 6 would be a good number, and these are pretty quick to make. So I have 3 so far. And then I'm like, I gotta have strawberries. And I showed you my dilemma with the strawberries before. Too long and pointy, it was bigger than I wanted, or it was really small, and I wanted it, you know, like this, about this palm of your hand. So I came across this other pattern on Instagram. And unfortunately, when they show you the picture, they like put it in a circle and the bottom part was cut off. So I started making it, and then I frogged it out because it was going to have that point that I didn't want. Made it look more like a chili pepper. So I wanted that point to go away. So I left off one round. And this was the first one. I placed the face lower than what the pattern said because it was having it way up here. I just thought it would look cuter down lower. And I was like, okay, this is still a little bigger than what I want. So I tried it again. I left out the one round at the bottom. But then I also left out an increase round. So when this one goes to 36, I did it to where it just goes to 30. And I want to say it was like, I marked it off. It's like 3 rounds that I left out. So like doing an increase round of 36, then you're going to do 4 more rounds of just 36. I stopped at 30, and that's the size difference. So this is a little bit more of the size that I'm looking for. So obviously a strawberry should be bigger than a blueberry. Blueberries are teeny tiny. But that's more like what I was looking for. Something that would be quick. Something that I can put, you know, a fairly low price on and still make a little bit on it. So I just have the 2 strawberries. We're almost done with what I have made this week. So I did do another turtle, and it's a sea turtle. I want to do a couple more land turtles. See, there's a lot I want to do, and I'm running out of time. So I'm just going to, you know, it's going to be, it is what it is. But let me show you my turtle. I'm rambling. This was out of the Hobby Lobby's Posh Pink and Michael's, I can't reach it from here, whatever their tan color is called. But isn't that pretty? And those colors go so well together. Now I could have used the green, but I wasn't sure I'd have enough. So I need to order some more. So like the green would have been pretty with that as well. But I like this, in Parfait we would call it toffee. I'm not sure what they call it in the Michaels. But it just, I love making the turtles. And this turns out a little bigger because, I don't know, they say this is a 6 weight, but it's a thick 6 weight. It's not thin like Parfait Chunky. Well, it's just like, you know, the Michaels, the loops and threads, they call it a 6 weight, and it is thicker than the Michaels, or Parfait Chunky. But yeah, those were my makes this week. So what I have to do, I have a list. These are what I want to do, and this is what I have to do. But the thing that I have to do is this craft fair, they are providing you with the tables. And they give you an 8x8 space, and you get 2 6-foot tables. But these 6-foot tables are only 18 inches wide. So it's kind of like having one normal size 6-foot table. So I have to bust out the tables, measure it out, and draw a line so that I can see how to set it up, being so thin. And I was able to get a few props to use for displays. So Like I picked up a couple of wooden crates and I got a couple of the tiered shelves, and I have to, I can't wait till the day of. I have to play with it. So that is on my have to list. And then of course, pricing them is on my have to list. My want to do list is like major long. So it's going to be, we get to what we get to, and that's just, it is what it is. It is what it is, but folks, it is crunch time, and the stress is real. But it's a fun stress. It is a fun stress. All right, you guys, I'm going to go. I am going to go and get some work done.